All right. Good evening, everybody. As you are starting to jump on, hopefully I'm on the right link right here. And I'm starting to wonder because right now, Kevin, it is you and I.
Could be a short webinar.
That would be really short, but we could talk a lot about what we know.
Yeah.
I'm hoping I have the right link. Oh, you know why? I haven't started the webinar. Let's go now. Now we're really going. We recorded.
Okay.
All right, Kevin. You know, I was a little worried about this for a second. Good evening, everybody, or good morning, I guess, depending on where you are coming from right now. My name is Jim Winkler, Vice President of Sales with Market America, and tonight have the honor of sharing this time frame with the Executive Vice President of Asia Pacific, the original OG gangster here, Kevin Buckman. So Kevin, great to be with you.
Well, it's good to be here. Good to be here.
Kevin and I used to do a lot of moving up seminars together. So we're going to give you a little moving up seminar treat as we go through this and talk, but we'll do it a little quicker than we normally do. Yeah, in the chat, if you guys would tell us where you're from, would love to know it. I see Tammy from Conway. Good to have you here, Tammy. All right, we'll give about another minute, and then we got Toronto here, Kentucky. Kevin, what time is it there? You're drinking coffee, I see.
9 a.m. in Taipei.
9 a.m. in Taipei. I am in just outside of Phoenix, Arizona, and it is 6 p.m. here. And we've got people, it looks like, from all around the world who are joining us. So we got Ann Lokes on from Sydney. We got Ken Copps from Michigan. All right, this is going to be fun. All right, Kevin, let's jump into it. I'm going to share my screen, but let's talk a little bit about why we're doing this as well. You know, we're going to recognize some of the people who have done well on the 53 challenge and our master UFO. Let's swap these. There we go. But you know, here's the thing, and I want to give a big shout out right now to everybody who we're going to see on this list from every country, because I got to tell you, part of this exercise was seeing if you could stay focused and stay the course during this period of time. It's been a long run, a long challenge, if we want to call it that, for the leaderboard. Yet many of you are doing an incredible job, and you've stuck with it and you've pushed through. Now we're in 2023. We're going to have this incredible year that's going to go on. And as we look through at the different countries and you see the people who are there for sponsoring our BV sales, that's new BV sales, by the way. Make sure everybody knows that. If you've exposed the business plan, personal orders from partner stores, or new registered PCs, what you're seeing is the best of the best from each country for this last week who is on there. And I got to say congratulations to all of you as we click through this and take a look. Look at Shu Moon T with 3 personal sponsorships, Kevin, in Malaysia.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. We'll move into Singapore, and again, look at some of the things that are going on right here. Move into Taiwan. In fact, Taiwan is doing so much, we had to move into 2 pages when we moved into newly sponsored because it went down to a second page with so many people doing well. And then the United Kingdom. And then ending up here with the United States, and congratulations to everybody who's listed on here for each thing you're doing as well. So Kevin, let's jump into the ABC pattern and let's talk about it a little bit, about why it's so important. And as you and I will talk about forever, it never unfolds perfectly, right? And
No.
one thing you mentioned to me, and I think you probably want to mention it to the people here, is before you ever get into an ABC pattern, you got to have the prospects got to know a little bit about what's going on, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to assume before we start follow up an ABC pattern of building depth in your organization, we're going to start basically from, you've registered a new business partner into your team. And we're going to have to assume that you've already invested time, energy, and effort into that individual to discover what it is that they want from this business vehicle. And that becomes why they're doing this business, why they made the decision to open up an unfranchise and try to create that secondary source of income. So it's so important to make sure you've put that time, energy, and effort into the individual to help them discover, if it's not apparent, which most times it's not, what it is they really want to get out of this, because that is the thing that's going to inspire and motivate them to do, the ABC pattern. Okay. And it's not just showing the plan from A to B to C. It's about imprinting and duplicating all aspects of the basic five in depth. I always say that, follow up an ABC pattern, that's where the work begins. Okay. That's where the work begins. With respect to building the business, ensuring, duplication with respect to best practices. And it's only going to happen if that person is inspired and motivated to achieve something.
So true. And, the ABC pattern, when we talk about it, sometimes it's not just about getting to that next prospect either. I want to make sure everybody understands that. I've been doing a lot of HBPs recently where I'm doing the HBP and the spouse is there, or the daughter or son is there. And suddenly some of the family members who might have been a little negative are suddenly turning into the positive, and it's helping the whole business grow. So when we're talking about ABCs, and Kevin said it's not going to unfold perfectly. We're looking to find the people who want to do the work to make this work. And that's where Kevin started off with by saying, we've got to spend the time up front, right? Mm-hmm. I think one of our weaknesses coming out of the last couple of years was people got maybe a little bit lazy. And I'm just going to call it for what it is, Kevin. They could sit at home, they could be on a screen, they could register someone in the business. And, maybe we didn't go into all the depth we would normally go into when we register somebody that you and I grew up with in the business, taking an hour and a half, 2 hours to do a registration, because you're laying down why they want to do this. What nights are they going to work? What are they going to do? So when they walked out, it wasn't, I'll hear people say, well, my people don't want to do a home business presentation, or they don't want to put their people in front of me. And part of me wants to say, well, that's because you didn't do any of the right work up front. You're just putting them in and hoping you can get them to do it. And again, I get it. That's important. But what we're trying to do is really get this moving in a duplicatable fashion and treating it like a business.
Yeah. And it's very important that, we really invest the time into these people, because, 20% of your people are going to do 80% of your business. They're going to do 80% of your business. So the very first thing we've got to do when we're going to work the ABC pattern is we have to identify who those 20%ers are. In other words, who are 20% of my team is going to generate 80% of my business. Okay. So when I first start out, I got to find out who the 20%ers are or who they might be. And it's going to take time, because they will prove themselves, as to, what they're willing to do. And, are they coachable? Are they willing to, do what's necessary to do? We did very, very well with respect to, all things being considered, with respect to registering new people, but we're also finding that people are falling out because it was easy in, easy out. A lot of people just started the business, and you need to know that they just started the business. okay, or signed up in the business, if you will, because they didn't have anything better to do. So you got to be prepared. Those type of people will probably fall out. Okay, because we never really, they didn't really get into the business because they hoped to achieve something that they couldn't achieve. Sooner or later, that the cycle will come back, and they'll say, you know what, I can't achieve my standard of living or the quality of life that I want without, doing something in addition to what I'm currently doing. And so they'll come back, and maybe this time, they've got, a real reason why.
Yeah, that is it's so important, because when you know why you want to do this, you'll crawl over glass to get there if you have to. But if you're just doing it and hoping it might work, a lot of times you might get lucky. Maybe you fall in love with it, but a lot of times it doesn't. So, one of the things we've got to do is we get people started. We got to teach them how to show the plan. You have to learn how to show the plan. I know Kevin and I are big believers that, when you get a new person, you want to get that plan in front of prospects very quickly. And one of the reasons why is if Kevin's my new guy, and I'd say, Kevin, let's get this in front of two people on Saturday night or Friday night or whenever. And he says, okay, well, while I'm showing those two people, who else am I showing? I'm showing Kevin. And Kevin is saying, wow, I'm glad I started this because it sounds better. I'm hearing it for the third or the fourth time, and my guys are starting to understand this. So we have to learn how to do that. And the first way to learn is by becoming a professional introducer. Use your teammates to support you in the business, right?
And that's critical. It's critical because we want that new business partner to experience success. Okay. We want them to experience that, there's a market for this business plan. Okay. There's a market. In other words, the people, will take a look at it, will join us in this business endeavor. And at the same time, people are more motivated. They get more excited when that success, okay, is directly beneficial to them. Okay.
Yes.
In other words, who's going to be motivated? Jim, you're going to be more motivated if I show the plan with you to some of your, potential possibilities, and they become interested in the business and they decide to join us in the endeavor? Or are you going to be more motivated if I have my own personal person that's not going to go into your team, and then you just see that person, decides to join us? You're going to be far more motivated, far more excited, far more enthused if those are members of your team.
Yeah. And, Kevin, it's funny when you're new, you don't always think about it. But once you have your new person and you help them find their new people, right? This ABC pattern we're doing. Well, when I bring in my mother-in-law, when I bring in my sister-in-law, which I did, when I bring in my brother-in-law, man, now I got to treat this a little more serious, Kevin. You know why? Because they registered their business because they believed that I was going to do it, and they believed you were going to help them because we're doing this as a team. But I got to step my game up. So when we talk about this ABC pattern, there's a lot of little things people don't think about that happen as we're doing this that make a huge difference in the speed of your business and how fast you can grow.
Yeah. And you're very big on point of contact to point of contact. In other words, it's the follow up. And with each follow-up meeting or connection or point of contact, you're actually nurturing and building and strengthening that relationship with that individual.
That's right. That's right. And there's a lot of ways we're not going to tell you got to show the plan in one way. What we're going to say is there's a lot of things to use to expose the business, whether that be a flip chart, simple way of doing it, whether it be one of our online presentations. We've got a 20-minute, it's now 20-minute video that we actually have on the app. Whether it be using that marketing app to send business or product information, product catalogs. We're starting to come out now, not only with the product catalog, but with the digital product catalog in different countries. Which we have currently in the U.S. and Singapore just got that, I believe, this week, and then it's going to be coming into all countries. A home shopping list. which for Kevin and I has always been a way to expose this business by having people basically say what they're already doing, and then see how they could incorporate that into the business. So, you know, there's the tools are out there. One thing, Kevin, I've never heard anybody say is, you guys just don't have enough stuff for me to know how to build my business. We have more videos, more audios, more material. Basically, here's what you need. You need to then say, okay, we got all this. I got to put in the work. I got to put in the effort to do it. And I'm going to give you a secret to the business. That effort, that showing the plan, Kevin and I all day long would rather be in somebody's living room showing the plan. That's our entertainment, right? You used to say, Kevin, it was better than going to the movies.
Yeah, better than TV.
Because, you know, you never know what's going to happen when something like that. So you gotta learn to love it and learn to love screwing up. I can't tell you how bad I've been at times showing the plan. And some people would say that they joined because they thought, if he's that bad and he's making money, I'm going to be okay. And you got to understand, being perfect is the wrong answer in this business. I will tell you that. You want to be real. You want to be human. You want to be genuine. That's what people are looking for.
Yeah, I always say getting it done is more important than getting it perfect.
Yeah. Oh boy, I love that. Getting it done is more important than getting it perfect. It's too many people they get what's it called? Paralysis from analysis. They're trying to figure everything out and they can't do it. You know, when you look at JR's trial run definition, the process is used to see if someone is right for the business and if the business is right for them, through which they will lead to potential prospects and customers, or in the final process, disqualify themselves. Or I'll go one step further, or qualify themselves because they fall in love with it while they're going through this process. So really he just didn't want to waste time, right, Kevin?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just that's why he was a big believer in the evaluation approach, you know, in that, you know, all we're going to do is get someone to evaluate the business plan and evaluate our product. And, you know, then based on that, you know, it's just a matter of, after a while, they introduce the product and the business to others. And if it takes hold, then there's no decision to make.
That's right. You know, and you go with them to see people. They don't have to say, I want to get started. They can get people in front of you right away. That's the best way to do it. You know, another thing I love is letting people know the best things in this business cost no money. It doesn't cost anything to invite people to look at the plan and get with somebody, right? That's what the trial run is. And once we get in front of their people, maybe the people give us referrals. Maybe they provide more information. Maybe that ABC pattern goes one step further. But, you know, you're going to figure that out. And you do have to, while you're meeting with people, you've got to be able to look up and read what's going on in their head. Because you can tell if someone doesn't like what they're seeing, or you can tell if they're on the edge of their seat, getting a little more excited. I think in every time you do a home meeting, there's got to be one person you lock into. It's one of the things I've always tried to do is see that one person who's moving, who's nodding with me, who's giving me the head shake saying, yeah, this is it, you know, and that's where we go. After that, we basically move into booking a follow-up. And Kevin said, a point of contact. You know, one of the worst things in the world is doing a great meeting and then calling the person you did it for 2 days later and saying, hey, you had five guests there. Where are they? And hearing the person say, well, you know, I got busy, Kevin. I didn't have time to call them, you know, and see how it went. You can book that night when the meeting's done. If there's interest, let's get this in front of some people. And, you know, Kevin, one of the things I was talking with Andrew about recently, and I think this is where people get confused. JR didn't do a 90-day trial run. He did a quick trial run. He wasn't trying to stretch it out forever. He was trying to see, okay, Kevin, you told me you're serious. How fast can you get people in front of me, right?
Yeah. And then here's some product, and, you know, and that night, okay, let's book an appointment with the first 2 to 4 people that come to mind that you think even may have the faintest interest in something like this. Okay. Oh, I've known 2 to 4 people. Okay, let's get on the phone or let's book, contact them. Let's set up something within the next 72 hours. And at the same time, here's some product, here's a 3-day trial size of our #1 selling product line. It's called Daily Essentials. Okay. So we immediately get the product. We immediately get them to book, a meeting with 2 or 4 people that they think might have an interest. And then we're off and we're going. Now we're doing this in the ABC pattern. But the thing that I want to bring up here, because you're going to see this diagram unfold, A, B, C, A1, B1, C1, is it's not necessarily the first person that you sponsor in the left organization and one in the right, okay? The A, B, C represents someone that is, working and doing the business. It's not just showing the plan, but is actually, working as instructed. They're coachable and they're working the business. They're leading you to people, because this whole exercise, this whole system is based on, creating leverage by exposing, the business to as many people within A, B, C sphere of influence or network, so we can expand sales and distribution by bringing in new sales and distribution channels, if you will. I mean, that's really what it's all about. Because it's easier to, from you getting 1,000 customers, it's much easier for 10 people, to get 100 customers. And it's much easier for 100 people to get 10 customers. So the thing is, that's leverage, and that's how you create the compounding. Okay. But we need to leverage the sphere of influence in that network that each one of these individuals, okay, the 20%ers, if you will, okay, that are going to actively participate in the business building end of the business. Not people that are just going to buy product and sit there at, buy it at unfranchised cost, and they love the product. And that's great. That's great.
And we love them.
And we love them. But the thing is that's not where you're not going to invest 80% of your time into 80% of the people that, are not going to work to leverage and get exponential growth. Okay. You're going to put 80% of your time into the 20%ers and 20% of your time into the 80%ers.
Yeah. And understand what Kevin's saying is that ABC may not be people you sponsored. The A may be, but it may be who they led to, they led to. Your stars, if I looked at my organization after 25 years, my biggest money earners weren't the people I brought in the business. Typically, they were the people who came in from the people I brought in the business. And someone said, hey, man, get out of my way. I'm going to do this. Tell me what to do. I'll run through the wall with you. And that's really what it comes down to. And that's how this goes. And we just move through this looking for people. But here's what you can't do. If you don't start the process, you'll never find the people down below. And some of us will do like one meeting, we'll be like, oh, that didn't go that well. It's a process, and it's time, and that's okay, because we're building something that lasts. And that is a big key. Kevin and I have seen this. He longer than me, 30 years, me 25 years, to have organizations that continue to pay us from something we started more than 2 decades ago. This is not driving Uber and getting paid that night. This is building a business and continuing to get paid over and over and over again on the things you've done. And that's the beauty of what we have in our hands. Kevin, you ever heard somebody say, "Oh, yeah, but the person above me isn't doing anything"? What am I supposed to do?
Well, what I want to do is I'm going to tell you. I tell everybody, what goes on above you really is not your business. What goes on, to the side of you is not your business. All right.
But Kevin, they sponsored me. I mean, come on.
It doesn't matter. Well, the thing is it's your job. It's your job to lead your team like you want it to be led. So what you have to do is you've got to lead by example, by setting the example based on the desired behaviors, best practice. What do you want imprinted? What do you want duplicated? Okay. You're the CEO and president of your business. Okay. Dennis and JR, they were not the CEO and president of my business. I was, okay? It was my responsibility. And what we have to do is, as entrepreneurs, we have to take ownership. We have to take ownership. You can't just solely rely on somebody else doing, everything for you. Okay. And because that's what if you're going to do that, you're going to send the message. That's what you're going to breed into your team.
Yes.
Nobody doing anything and just waiting for somebody to do it for them. Okay. And that's why you won't have any growth. Okay. But if you duplicate, okay, taking ownership, creating a culture of accountability where everybody's responsible for doing their part, okay, like any team, okay, then you're going to be successful. But sometimes you just got to take the bull by the horns and do it yourself.
Yeah. Beauty of what we have is we generate great teams of people. But sometimes you just got to say, you know what, I'm going to be the sponsor I wish my sponsor was. I'm going to be the leader I wish my leaders were. Exactly. And I'm going to build it. And you know what's funny is if you start building it from the bottom down, a lot of times they'll wake up and start paying attention because you are doing it the right way and you're showing them it's going to happen either way. So you're putting pressure on them to do the correct things if they're really going to build a business. So remember, it starts from down below. It starts with you saying, you know what, I'm going to make this happen. Either way, that I can tell you some of the best people in this company don't have sponsors. How do you like that? Their sponsors quit. Their sponsors got kicked out. Their sponsors haven't done anything in 20 years, but they keep rolling with it because they understand the power of what they have with this business. So our objective is to get the new unfranchised owners to lead to prospects while demonstrating the best practices to build the business, create duplication. I think you heard Kevin say that almost word for word before.
Yeah. That's where people seem to think that, plugging people into trainings like a Basic 5, an NUOT, a local seminar and everything. Very important, extremely important, because that's where the business is validated that, people like them can be successful. The model works and everything. But the real training, where you really learn to do the business is not in a cognitive setting like a classroom or an auditorium or something like that. It's really taught in this ABC pattern. Yes. When you are doing the business with your teammates, okay, you're demonstrating, you're telling them what to do, why you have to do it. You're demonstrating how to do it. And when you do that repetitively over and over, A pattern, B pattern, and remember, each one of those A's and B's, there's collectively more people coming to those meetings, corings and things that you're doing, showing the plan, HBPs, 2-on-1s, 3-on-1, whatever it may be. But the point is, that's where you're teaching people the business, how to handle objections, how to set goals. All of these aspects, okay, is really demonstrating best practices. And that's where people learn. Adults learn by doing, they learn through experience, they learn through observation, visualization, they're participatory learners. Okay, that's how adults learn. So it's very important that if you don't do the ABC pattern, okay, with your people that you bring into the business, that are 20 percenters, because others will fall out. Okay. But the point is finding them and doing it with them is where they really learn the business, so that they can later, you can delegate and they can be doing it on their own, so that we're getting, leverage in our business.
And that leverage, Kevin, going back, if you had 4 people on your left and 4 people on your right who do 1 meeting a week, even with 1 person, you have 4 plans going on your left, 4 plans going on your right, and it's not all based on you. I remember when it got to the point, all of a sudden I had 4 people doing HBPs 1 week. Then it became 4 people doing it in 1 night. I'm like, wow, this thing, the numbers, when you get numbers rolling, the business works, because the business makes too much sense, and you get the numbers, but to get the numbers, you have to duplicate and get people to do what you're doing. And Kevin said it, I'm going to jump on the bandwagon with you on this. It's the trainings are great. The locals are great. We need them. They're vital. They're part of our system. But there is nothing better than locking arms with somebody around a kitchen table or in the living room, or even if it's on Zoom or whatever, where you're together doing the business together. Got to do that. So that's one of the reasons we have this weekly accountability sheet, is to make sure, are you doing it? And I'll tell you how this works for me, Kevin. When I do the weekly accountability sheet and I go through this, what it's really telling me is not what I'm doing. It's telling me what I'm not doing. I look at it and I say, you know what? Jim, how can you not read your goal statement one time a day? That's simple. Put it in front of you and do it. Or how can you not show a plan or do a trial run? That's the way my mind works. So if you're doing this, you're saying, well, I got a lot of things I'm not doing good at. Fantastic. That's great. Because guess what? You got a lot of areas to improve. And that's one of the things in this business. I think we all have areas to improve and get better with.
Yeah, when I referred back to the, 20% of your people do 80% of your production, also 20% of the activities will generate 80% of the production. Okay. And the beauty of this is these weekly accountability report, these tasks and activities associated with this here. These are the 20% of the activities that generate 80% of your results. It's already been defined for everybody. Okay, that's one of the beautiful parts. You don't have to go in and say, okay, where should I invest my time, energy, and effort doing what? Okay, they've already been provided to everybody, and it's provided to everybody in mass, so that everybody's going to the same thing. Okay, because again, it's a system, and we need that's where we get momentum. We get momentum when we have everybody focused on the same thing and contributing, okay, a little bit by each and every person.
Yeah. And that's everybody doing a little bit leads to a lot. And so many times we think it's got to be one person going crazy. And sometimes you feel that way for a little while, but that's not your long-term success. Your long-term success is duplicating it out. And I've always believed, if you know how to do what Kevin and I are talking about, and by the way, how to do it is just doing it. If you understand what we're talking about, you could drop us off in another country, Taiwan, Singapore, Hong Kong, anywhere. We can walk out and we'll get this thing going, because we understand what these few things you have to know how to do and how they duplicate and what'll happen from there. It takes all the chance out of it. It's fun, Kevin, with the recent ability to really get back in the homes the way we weren't able to do for 2 years. I got to tell you, I have had more fun in the last 2+ months being back in somebody's home, meeting their husband or wife, meeting their kids, talking to them, and seeing light bulbs go off, because now I know I'm in control again. You know what I mean? And they're starting to do exactly what I'm doing with them, because they're seeing what's happening with their people. ABC with it. What are stumbling blocks? I don't know how to show the plan, Kevin. So I can't
push play.
I knew you were going to say that. Play the video if you have to, right?
Yep,
the other thing is, Kevin, when we used to do this, we're doing it right now. We do a commentator type thing, right? You don't know how to show the plan. Well, either do your people. So have them start off and then have you do it, and let everybody know you're not great at it. With PowerPoint, how can you not know how to show the plan? We had to learn to show the plan by writing it on a whiteboard. You had to know the plan. I stood with note cards in my hand for months to make sure I didn't screw it up. Here it's right in front of me. It makes it a heck of a lot easier. I think number 2 is one of the worst things people do. Well, you know what? I'm going to wait for that UBP and I'm going to bring people to that. No, we don't even need a UBP if we're not building on the side. I hope everybody understands it. The GMTSS was built to support what was being done in the homes, one-on-one, two-on-one, small HBPs. That's what makes the UBP great. Plug them into a training. That's Kevin and I've already discussed this. You know, you can do that, but that doesn't mean, that doesn't build the business for them. That teaches them certain things. It's great to build at a distance because you have that, but it's in the homes that does it.
Yeah. I mean, but you know, here, and see, I know this sounds like I'm talking blasphemic, if you will, but I'm not. But the thing is there's a time and place, timing for everything. Okay. And the timing to get the first 2 to 4 people potentially in front of you and your potentially new business partner, and the timing to get them to experience a product, you know, for, let's say, trial size marketing, is when? At the height of their excitement, the height of their enthusiasm. When you have that, you capitalize on that timing to get them to take action.
Yes.
Okay. Too many times we pitch, we sell, we close, we bring somebody in, whether the business was right for them or not. We never even we didn't get them to evaluate it and, you know, make an educated decision. We basically just, you know, sold them, closed them, and then boom, popped them into an NUOT or a basic 5. Okay. And the thing is the quickest way to pour cold water on somebody's excitement and enthusiasm and energy to act is to just plug them into a cognitive setting, you know, where we're going to go over a getting started guide for the next 2 hours. You see, in other words, the thing is, but if they have a couple people interested, okay, just even marginally, and they tried the product, and they shared their experience with someone they know of the product, and they want to get another 3-day trial size, whatever it may be. The point is now all of a sudden they're more motivated. Okay. And then we hit them with, you know, we introduce the NUOT, the basic 5, things like that. But we've got to get them in motion first. Trying to get somebody to get in motion after they've been put, you know, immobile is very difficult.
It goes back to that paralysis by analysis. Give them a whole bunch of information, but don't have them do anything. So now they're more worried about doing it.
Yeah, you've overwhelmed them. You've overwhelmed them.
Yeah, some of the fastest people I've ever seen build this business didn't even really know what they were doing, other than they were getting people in front of other people who did know what they were doing, and they were learning as they were starting to earn checks.
They watched them.
Yep, they watched them, and they did it together. You know, one of the things, a big stumbling block as well, is working with the wrong people. And this is that one, Kevin, you know, where people bring people in and they've got 2, and one of them doesn't really want to do anything, but I'm gonna beg that person to do it. And you know why I'm begging them? Because I'm not sponsoring, I'm not talking to anyone else, so they've got to do it for me. Come on, Kevin, you can do this. We can do it. And Kevin's getting irritated at me because he's like, I don't want to move at your speed. I don't want to do that. I just want to get my products at cost and sell a little bit.
Right. And then what you do, well, let's say you have somebody you're working with, 2 people, one of them that, you know, and because you're trying to force it and make them do it, okay, you're actually putting them, you know, in close contact with somebody that does want to do it. All right. And all of a sudden their excitement, their enthusiasm starts to erode. Okay. Yeah. Because you're allowing that other person that just wants to buy the product. They don't want to build the business. Okay, fine. Let them go. Let's find new people that want to build the business.
Yes. Yeah. That's, you talk about time management. Time management is looking for people who want to do it, loving the other people, but not depending on them. And then, of course, we've been talking this whole time about people needing to move from house to house, home to home. Getting people to sign up. Why is this a stumbling block? Seems like it should be a good thing. You know, I used to love when Jared would talk about this, because he basically understood just getting someone to register doesn't matter. Why do we register somebody? We register somebody for only one reason: to get to their people. That's it. If we can't get to their people, why are we bringing them in the business? You know, that's the bottom line. Same thing with, they don't have the necessary information. We've beat this up. Stop having paralysis, not using the getting started guide. I'll tell you, this is a big challenge for people, because this is where Kevin started off with, and he said you got to know your why. You got to know what are you willing to say I'm going to do, and that's all right in that getting started guide. And I can't tell you, over the years, when I've gone to a team that said they needed support, they needed help. And my first question is, okay, you bring somebody in, what do you do right away? There's two things missing that are huge. First one is they don't use the getting started guide. And second one is they don't get in the homes. And I'm like, okay, we don't need to talk anymore. I know why you're struggling. So let's reverse it. You can sponsor 12 people. If you don't teach them what to do, it doesn't matter, right? They'll burn out. And they'll leave and leave a bad taste in everybody's mouth about the company, right? We got to treat this like a profession. And that goes into the scheduling, and not using the evaluation approach. Kevin mentioned it earlier, but to me, what do you have to lose if you ask somebody to evaluate it? It may not be for them. Maybe they're evaluating it to give you somebody else that they know. I've got a lot of friends who make a lot of money, a ton of money. Now, if I ask them to look at the business, they'll say yes, but they probably aren't going to look at it for them. But you know what? One of my buddies makes huge money. He said, I want my son to look at this with you. And you know why he wanted his son to look at it? Because he wanted his son to get experience talking to people, not sitting in front of a screen playing games. He goes, I want him to learn how to do things from the ground up. And that's why you take the evaluation approach with people, because they may have somebody in their mind that would be perfect for what we do. Anything you want to add on that, Buck?
I'm just saying, go back to JR's original statement. It's about what? We want to make sure the business is right for you and you're right for the business.
Yeah.
Rather than, if you had a normal traditional business or a team, let's say you were coaching a team, and, the thing is you're not going to give a jersey to you need 5 players. You're not going to give a jersey to the first 5 people who walk through the gym door. Okay.
I had to earn this jersey.
You're going to have to do 20, 30, if you can have 30 people trying out, you can pick the best 5. Okay. You're not going to take the first 5. Now think about it. That's exactly what, one of the big problems is, that the evaluation approach will solve. In other words, if it's actually a tryout, the evaluation tryout. One, are you right for the business? And is the business right for you?
Yeah.
Because I want to know that. Before I've invested a year's worth of work into somebody that in reality, it was like swimming, up Niagara Falls with this person. Okay. But I was just hell bent on making that person do what I wanted them to do. And really, it never worked out.
Yeah. Goes right back to what we've always been taught and have taught, and that's qualifying people.
Yeah.
Making sure that and by the way, it's not a bad thing if the business isn't right for them. That's a good thing, guys. That's a good thing, because you're going to save a lot of time, which gives you a lot more time to do things with the right people. And we've talked on everything on here, Buck, already. The no assumptive close. The assumptive close is basically just getting them to get more people in front of you. That's all it is. That's the assumptive that they want to do that. Buck, why don't you take over and lead
very
on these
first
next
thing? There's milestones that we go through doing the follow-up and the ABC pattern of building depth. One of which, in the beginning, we want to be, a product of the product. We want to be our own best customer. And so the key here is, as a unfranchised household, we should be using at least 150 BV worth of product per month, as well as 30 IBV worth of product, creating that per month, and then building a customer base, an organic, grassroots customer base that repeat buys from us, 350 BV or more per month and 70 IBV or more per month. Now that might be 10 customers. It might be 20 customers to achieve these numbers. Okay. It might only be 8 customers, 6 customers. Okay. But whatever it is this unfranchise, our goal and objective is to get someone so that they are creating, and generating, at least 500 BV a month and 100 IBV a month, which comes to what, 1,500 a quarter and 300 a quarter. Okay. Now, why those numbers? Well, there's a whole lot of efficiencies, economies of scale there. We're basically exercising the month-to-month accrual option with no issue. Okay. We're generating retail profit. Okay. We have a base that we can increase the share of product that those repeat customers are buying. All things to create more BV. Okay. And remember, your best customers may end up being what? Some of your best business partners, down the road, or lead you to additional customers that may end up being business partners. But when you think about qualifying, and this is the thing it puzzles me. When you think about qualifying as a master-owned franchise owner, we kind of seem to think that, this is a big deal. It's a big achievement. It's a big thing. And JR used to always say, well, qualifying as a master UFO, you're basically just implementing, those best practices, those tasks and activities associated with best practices, and these are the results you get. So, it's like he used to always say, once you're qualifying as a master UFO, you are really open for business. So what are you doing? Okay. You're a product of the product. Okay. Home shopping list, UFMS subscription, automatically on auto ship, because we want to accrue volume month to month, and we want to be able to manage our organization. We've already creating 1,500 by achieving base 10. We've already created 1,500 BV a quarter, 300 IBV a quarter. So all four of those criteria basically have been taken care of once we've achieved base 10. That leaves us to focus 80% of our time with respect to the business of focusing solely on putting the business in front of as many people as possible to sponsor a minimum of one new business partner per quarter. Okay. One per quarter, not one a month, not two a quarter, but one a quarter. That's, by doing that. So if we show the business or get two people to evaluate it per week, okay, that basically comes to 24 people in a quarter. I find it very hard, if you really hit those numbers, I find it very hard to believe that we won't, find one individual that's willing to join us in this business. Okay. Even at 12 per quarter, even if we only do 50%, not 24, it's one a week. Okay. For 12 weeks, we'll find one. But once we bring somebody in, and that's really our goal, is just sponsoring one a quarter, that's our focus, 80% of our time's focus, then what are we going to do with them? Well, we're not going to bring somebody in and squander what they could contribute to the organization. We want to do what? We want to get them trained. We want them to get through an NUT. We want to get them through a basic 5. We want them to get the ECCT, okay? But in between, we want them leading to people that are potential business partners, so that they can evaluate, as well as people that are, being exposed to our products. Okay. But now what happens is, and then 3 tickets, you got to have 3 tickets in order so that you can have one to sell. We got to get them to the physical event. And the result is, 50 UFOs doing 500 BV a month and 50 on the right. Okay. We're then getting through the cycle every week. All right. So the key here is, when we first start off, we've got to create 10,000 in volume. So when we start off in the business, that 10,000, I don't have anybody on the left or right. So guess what? That 10,000 is on me. But if I can get, 10 on the left, 10 on the right, okay, that's 20. Okay. 20, you divide the 10,000 by 20. Okay. Now all of a sudden, what each business partner is responsible for producing, it makes it so that, starts off 100% your effort, then 50%, then 25%, then 10%, then 5%, because you've got everybody, every time you add somebody that's going to do the right thing, okay, and participate in the result producing activities, you basically lessen the contribution that they've got to make, but they're going to make it anyway. Why? Because it's been imprinted and duplicated, so that, you've got so much volume being created.
You think about a couple of things you said, Buck, going through that, when you're doing base 10, 7 strong, when you're building, you have 6 people on each side of your business. You're pulling in a $600 check coming in monthly. $600 a month for 6 people on each side of your business, who have 10 customers each, doing basically a daily essentials packet. I mean, you said 35 BV, right? So that's 40 for doing one. It's the realism of the business team to see that it doesn't take huge numbers of unfranchised owners. It doesn't take huge numbers of customers. It takes consistency. It takes duplication.
I mean, everybody should have a 10-pack. Okay, I'm just going to use daily essentials, and everybody should have a 10-pack. Okay, that's 40 BV. Everybody should have a 10-pack of trial size marketing, so that coming in every month on their auto ship. Why? Because that's a business building expense. Okay, it's not to sell. It's not, because if you have at least 10 going out every month that you're using to do trial set, you're exposing and expanding your potential customer base, as well as, we're introducing the business model, whether you realize it or not, even if we're not showing the plan, because when we introduce the product to people and they become repeat buyers, they automatically realize there's a business associated with it. Right. And a lot of times they're going to ask you. So if you had 10 coming in on auto ship every month, okay, and you made a business goal and objective to basically do 10 trial size marketings per month, all right, that's a tax write-off. Okay, it's a business, it's promotional, it's advertising. Okay, but the point is you're contributing to expanding your sales and distribution channels. I mean, it's a business, it's not a club. Okay, and so the thing is if you and eventually, if you've got 10 unfranchised owners in your left organization, 10 on your right, all achieving base 10, that's 500 BV a month. That's guaranteed 1,500. Okay. 1,500 in commissions every month, because you're getting to 5,000 every month. 500 times 10, 500 times 10, 5 and 5 every month. You're going through the cycle. Okay. Now I ask people all the time, what would an extra $1,500 coming into your monthly budget? For 80% of the people out there, $1,500 a month, okay, would be very significant.
Oh, for some,
and think about it. You've got 10 on the left, 10 on the right. Say, you know what? I can duplicate the same thing Kevin did by getting 10 on my left, 10 on my right. I've already got 6 or 7 doing it. Okay, because that happens to be Ben and Ann. Okay, so because as you get this duplicated, everybody that is building underneath ends up having they get to capitalize. They get to capitalize on the growth and development from above.
It's the way the plan works. It's the beauty of the plan.
So,
for everybody watching, I'm going to make a recommendation to you. When this comes out on video, get this to your new people. You got to listen to Kevin and some of the things he's saying right here. If you took this and you run with it, and you build this way, it's not just building, it's building for the future. It's the 10 years from now, what you've built as a foundation. And that's really, I think, Kev, where you and I come from. We're not about the quick hit. We want you to be paying yourself 10 years from now on what you built.
I kind of use the analogy of this, okay? Most everybody knows the answer to this. I would say everybody. If you had $2,500 per month that you could use to put a roof over your head, okay, a month, $2,500 a month, let's say, okay, would you rather own a roof or rent a roof? Most everybody says, well, I'd rather own than rent. Well, why is that? It's because 10 years from now, if I walk away from the roof and I was renting, what do I walk away with? Nothing.
Yeah.
If I owned the roof and walked away 10 years from now, what would I have? I would have equity. I would have something to show for that $2,500 a month I put towards that roof. Now, when I say more money, how's that? Is because you got people below you, they want what they want, and they know what to do, and they're willing to work to do it. So are you automatically, are going to increase, what you're generating. Again, it goes back to the cliche, if you want what you want, okay, find a couple people that, want what they want and help them get it.
Yeah, that's right. Help enough people get what they want, and you'll get what you want.
It's true.
Well, Kevin, it has been an absolute pleasure. We get to spend a lot of time together, but we don't always get to train together anymore. So I've enjoyed it. Thank you to everybody who's been on. I hope this was enjoyable to you, and I am going to make that recommendation. This would be something I would share with all my new people who are coming in the business, so they understand why this foundation is so important to build and to be able to grow with. So, and for the person who asked me about the shop.com jersey, I don't know where you can get this. This was a gift. So I guess you earn it after 25 years, right, Kev?
I don't know. I don't think I got one, but I'm going to have to find out how you snake that.
Thanks again, everybody. Buck, have a great day, and everybody else have a wonderful evening, and do something great for your business this week. Let's really take it to another level here in 2023.
All right. Good night.